Any regular old dumb investor like me or you can just put their eggs in several baskets, and suddenly that 30% drop feels like 3. Whoa. Hey there, buddy. I think I got me a new Omi homie. How you doing, bud? Listen, I know it's a great big world here. It's confusing. Gems, all right? Collectibles, Omi. Where do you even put your money? You got like $100. What is diversification? What is this big lingo? What the hell is a portfolio? I hear you, bud. I wish I had these answers when I was starting out on my digital asset journey, and I'm here to answer them for you. So let's dive in. Listen, it's a Saturday night. I want to be out with my friends, but we stay here on the hustle, we stay here on the grind. My name is Poba.G, and I've been in this market for digital assets for like the last 5 years. It started with video games, turned into crypto, and now here I am in Veve Omi. One thing I didn't know about when I was starting was this idea of diversification and this idea of a portfolio. Diversification especially is an extremely difficult thing to achieve when you're dealing with something like collectibles. I'll go back to diversification and what I mean by that in a moment, but your portfolio is essentially what you show to someone when you show them, this is what all of my money is, and this is where it is, and this is what I have it in, and this is what it's worth. So for example, my portfolio right now, I have like 3 Steamboat Mickeys and then 2 Coca-Cola bottles alongside a couple thousand Omi, right? So that's my Veve portfolio. It's not my entire financial portfolio, but that's just my Veve portfolio. Now, my portfolio isn't very diversified. So what does diversification look like? Let's say you have 1,000 gems. It might be 30 to 40 different collectibles or 20 collectibles if you want to diversify that much. But let's say you only have 1,000 gems. Well, it could just be just one Steamboat Mickey, just one common jaunty jig. So you might be asking yourself, what's the right choice? How much diversification is too much diversification? Well, there's a quote by Warren Buffett, all right, and he says that diversification may preserve wealth, but concentration builds wealth. What he's saying by this is the more you diversify, the less likely your portfolio is to suddenly just take a beating, the less likely you are to drop 60-70% in the next day. For me, it's significantly more likely because all that has to happen is these 3 collectibles drop 60-70%, and then bam, my entire portfolio is down 60-70%. Whereas if I was diversified into 15 or 20 different things, if one of them took an 80% dip and got hit hard tomorrow, I would still be sitting very pretty because it would level out that playing field because the rest of my holdings are doing okay or well. The reason why they say you average a 7% return in the stock market every year is because it involves a large amount of diversification. It involves you being pretty much across the entire stock market in order to achieve that level, because on average, the entire stock market grows by 7%. Concentration is the flip side of diversification, and it's what you use when you have a strong conviction. It's what you use when you know. It's what you use when something makes so much sense and you have such a strong understanding of it that you're okay putting your eggs in that basket. If you were only invested in 1 or 2, you would be doing like 3 to 4x, or you would be losing all your money in like days, because that's just how it works. We will get to whether or not you'll be buying Omi or collectibles, okay? But this is to teach you, okay? I'm trying to teach you and understand the reasoning first. If you're watching this video, it's likely that you already have strong conviction in Veve. It's likely you already think that Veve is going to do well. It's likely that you just want to know how to properly put your money in here and where to put your money in. If we take a look at my portfolio, I have strong conviction in some other things as well. I truly believe that Coca-Cola is undervalued, and I truly believe that these Steamboat Mickeys are undervalued. That is why my portfolio is split up between the 2. I'm going to tell you what that means in terms of my risk. All right, according to Warren Buffett's quote, I should be at significantly higher risk because I have a lot more concentration and less diversification. And the reason why is because I'm young. I can take on a lot more risk. If these go to 0 tomorrow, my life isn't over. My life will be okay. I'm not missing out on ridiculous sums of money. I mean, it would do a lot for me, sure, but I would survive, and there's plenty of time in my life to make up that money that I would have lost. The Gale made a video recently talking about the NFTs that he currently has on the Veve app that will make him famous. He has a lot of strong reasoning behind his picks, but the reason why I mention him is not because of his conviction, it's in fact because of his diversification. If you watch the Gale, you will see that he is extremely convicted in a lot of the other purchases that he's in. He knows that his golden moments are going to do absolutely ridiculous. He knows that his Disney NFTs are going to be worth significantly more than they are now. He understands that as fact. And yet, for some reason, he still decides to go and buy these B to C tier collectibles that he really doesn't need to be holding on to. For example, he has this yellow Mermicorno, which is the very first animated collectible in the VV space. And his claim is that it's going to be worth so much just because it's a flex, and it's going to be very cool just because of its edition size, and it's going to be out of reach for most people. I bet you $1 million that if the Gale didn't own that NFT, if he didn't own any NFTs at all, his first purchase would not have been that yellow Mermicorno. That's no way what he would have done. Instead, he would have purchased something that he had much more conviction in, and something he knew was going to appreciate significantly faster and significantly greater. I'm not saying that his purchase was a bad choice. Now I'm going to give an explanation as to why that was actually a good choice. The reason why the Gale is in these B and C tier collectibles is because he thinks that they're going to do extremely well. I personally believe everything on the app right now is going to do extremely well, and if it's season 1, it's also going to do extremely well. With Gale's diversification into these side projects, it doesn't matter if his main grails are dumping 60% because he still has these to hold on to, these to sell, to flip. There's a certain point where you have so much capital that suddenly you have the opportunity to increase that diversification factor. And that goes back to what I was saying with Veve. You have the option of putting your 1,000 gems into 60 chupacabras or one steamboat. But someone with $1 billion, they have the opportunity to diversify across the entire app. They can purchase one collectible of everything and still have plenty of money to spare. But we've just been talking about collectibles. Omi is an extremely valuable piece of the Veve project that is going to do extremely well as well. Now, the problem with Omi is that it's hard to move around, it's hard to withdraw. It's like it's a crypto coin, and if you aren't well versed in the cryptocurrency world alongside your wallets and Web3, etc., you're just not going to have a great time purchasing Omi. And that's part of the reason why Veve app made it so great. So if you're just now new to Veve and you have no idea what's going on in the market, and all you're trying to do is just steadily, safely grow your investment, all right, grow your money, just grow that gem bag just a little bit, you might want to consider having a wide reach as opposed to a small concentration, because that wide reach is going to benefit you a lot more. It's true. The one thing I forgot to mention is if you have a wide reach, if one of them triples, it's not gonna make a big deal on your portfolio. Your portfolio goes up 8-10%, but it's safer because if one of them drops 90%, your portfolio isn't gonna drop significantly. Meet Kevin usually is someone who has high concentration. Like, let's say he loves his Tesla, he loves his Apple shares, he loves very specific stocks. Meet Kevin is trying to time the market currently, and he sold all of his stocks at $20 million because it dropped from 30 million to 20 million in just a couple of days. The reason why he pulled the trigger so quickly is because he panicked. He got scared. Anyone who looks at their portfolio dropping a third and losing tens of millions of dollars within a day is going to see some kind of panic and want to secure whatever they can. They just want to take and hold on to and regret ever not selling in the first place. The reason I mentioned Meet Kevin is because he is a perfect example of a concentrated portfolio dropping significantly quickly. And if you can't stomach it, if you can't hold on to your conviction and say, I made the choice I made and I was ready for this to drop 30%, then don't do it. Just don't concentrate that much, because what's going to end up happening is you're going to see that number fall, especially in a space like this where everything is so volatile, so new. You're going to see a price like that dump and you're going to get scared and you're going to sell because you don't know what you're doing. Which leads me to my conclusion. If you don't know what you're doing in the Veve app, in the Veve space, if you don't know what these collectibles are really worth, if you haven't played the game for a little while, you're going to want to be in several different places, okay? You want to have a wide reach because it's not a safe world for you. It's very dangerous and it's very risky. Now, I'm not saying I make great calls all the time, but I have a lot more conviction and I'm ready to take a 30 to 40% hit at any given moment. If you're not ready to get a 30 to 40% hit at any single moment, you better not put all of your eggs in one basket. And I know a lot of people got shafted on this recent gem pump we had. We have never seen collectibles rise in value that quickly and then come back down 30-40%. It was pretty scary, and a lot of new investors bought at that peak because they thought that was a great purchase and they thought that it was going to keep going and they didn't want to miss out, and they were like, oh, Veve's out of my reach, it's leaving, and they had to dump $15,000 just to see it drop to 10. And I feel so bad because they didn't know what they were doing, and that's why I make these videos, so that you don't have to make that same mistake. Ideally, the best way to avoid that mistake is to just be better at marketing, be better at reading the market and seeing that that's too high of a price and that's overinflated. The second best way of avoiding that mistake that anyone can do, any regular old dumb investor like me or you, any regular dumb old investor can just put their eggs in several baskets, and suddenly that 30% drop feels like 3. That big old Bitcoin hit where it dumped from 67K all the way to 35, it won't feel like anything because you have so many other holds, so many other coins that are just doing well, okay? Veve is one of them, Omi is one of them. Buy wide, buy high, okay? The safest strategy on Veve is to just buy and hold. And I personally don't like it all that much because I think there's a lot of money you're missing out on. But if you don't understand the market and you've never experienced a digital economy like Veve, you're going to want to stay away for a little while. You want to have the least amount of market exposure you can, because the last mistake you want to do is FOMO in like everyone else and lose thousands of dollars and have someone else take advantage of that and make thousands of dollars off of you. Part of the reason why I was able to make a lot in the past video economies I participated in is because the people that play these video games were just casual people. They weren't trying to make hundreds of dollars. They weren't trying to outcompete each other. And the same thing's happening here in Veve. A lot of people aren't on Veve to make thousands of bucks. They just want to pick up some of these cool collectibles, and they're willing to pay a price because they know that it'll be worth more in the future. They don't really understand how markets work and how prices fluctuate and how gem squeezes matter and what a new drop means for the rest of the world. I don't even care if you're subscribed. I've never really asked for a subscribe, and I don't really want you to subscribe. I'm almost at 250, and I want to hit it before I have 1 month on this YouTube platform. And I'm currently 2 days away from being on this platform for 1 whole month now. And it's been a journey, and I'm almost at 250. If we can hit it, smash the like. That's all I care about. Smash like. And as always, stay tuned, my Omi homies. Mwah.